Hey everybody, welcome back to How to Build a Blog with Laravel. I know it's been a long time for those of you guys that are watching this series live. For those of you guys that are watching it after the fact, you're in luck because there was like a 1 month gap between the last video and this video, and I cannot apologize more. I'm not going to go into all the details. If you want to get my update video on what was happening and what changes are coming to the channel, which are all really exciting changes in my opinion, don't worry. I've got a video in the description you can go ahead and watch, or you can click this annotation on the screen. And if you are wondering what's going on with the channel, and I do recommend you go ahead and watch that. Now for this video, we're going to finish what I promised we would finish a month ago, which is the tag Crud. So we're going to create an interface inside of our blogging application that's going to allow us to create tags, look at all the tags, update the tags or edit them, and then delete them. So it's going to allow us to do all that stuff with our tags. So we already have a way to associate tags with a blog post, and so now we just need to be able to create new tags and do stuff like that. So it should be pretty basic. You guys should already know this kind of stuff, but I know a lot of you guys have been begging for the video, and now it's finally here. Let's get started. All right, so to get started, let's first of all, I haven't booted this up in a good little while, so let's go ahead and just get started into our wow, it's been a while. Okay, so sites, and we're looking at the blog. That's the correct one. Let's open it up in Sublime, and I'm just gonna go ahead and I think actually my text is pretty good. Let me check the text size. We'll make the text a little bigger for you guys. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Inside of our app folder, we need to create a new controller. So we created our model already. So we have a model for our tags. You can see that the tags have many posts. And in our post model, we have a post has many tags, right? So we can access this. We've created that association. We also have created inside of our database, which let me go ahead and just open up real fast. I'm just going to use SQL Pro as always, and we're just going to open it up real fast. You can see that we have a tags table for our tags in our database, which is great. It just contains the name of the tag is really all that's really in there, and that's basically it. It's got an ID and then timestamps. Pretty basic stuff. So we've already done all that stuff. What we need to do now is find a way to add an interface where we can create new tags and see a list of all of our existing tags. I'm probably going to create an interface similar to that with our categories. So to take a look at that, we're going to go to our PHP artisan serve. That's going to launch our development server. Probably should have done it in another tab, but that's my bad. We'll do it. We'll close it and do it later. Let's open up Chrome and new window. And localhost 8000. Okay, there we go. Look at this sexy blog. We need to go ahead and log in. See if I can remember my login. I get a lot of email addresses. There we go. Okay. I think this is the password. It's been a while. Okay, there we go. Sweet. Hello, Alex Curtis. Dude, our blog looks good. Sometimes when you don't look at something in a while, you realize how good of a job you did. I think it looks good. So anyway, what I want to do here is create another link in here called tags. We're going to create a way to access the tags in the same way that we did the categories. So probably just create the same interface just for simplicity. Again, this isn't an HTML and CSS tutorial. This is a Laravel tutorial. So I don't want to get too tied up in things like the interface. But we're basically going to do the same thing. We'll just have it say tags. We'll list all of our tags, and then we'll have a place here to create a new tag. So it's going to be almost the exact same thing that we did with our categories. That's right. So it should be a pretty quick video. Let's go ahead and click Sublime. And now we need to go in and create a new controller. So our controllers are held under HTTP and then controllers. You can see we have a category controller here that we've created in the past, and now we're going to need to do the same thing with tags. So let's go ahead. We're going to create a new file under the controllers folder, and we're going to call it tag control. Oh, well, we need to save it first. So Control S. Then we're going to call it tag controller. I almost did .com. .php. I'm getting rusty, guys. It's been so long since we've been doing these. I actually love doing these videos. I really do it. This is a lot of fun for me. So I actually really love getting back to it. Honestly, the reason I was gone was simply like I had zero time. Like I was getting home at past midnight every single night and just falling straight asleep, waking up at 7. I'd be gone all day. It's been like a month of hectic craziness at work. It's our busy season. And that's basically the only reason I haven't been able to do videos is because I haven't had 10 seconds of time. It's been really hectic. So I actually really love doing these videos for you guys. And I'm really excited to do some really useful applications coming up soon. We should have done, you know what we should have done? Dang it. Let's close this. This is what happens when you haven't worked on this for a while. Let's close our tag controller. We're going to create the tag, or I deleted the tag file. Let's actually create it through here so that through our terminal so that we get all the namespacing and stuff like this that we want. So we're going to create a resource controller. So we'll do PHP artisan make controller and call it tag controller resource. I think this is the syntax. Yep, it was. Okay, so once again, we did PHP artisan make. And then we told it to make a controller. We could do make a model. We could do make all sorts of stuff, a migration. We gave it the name of the file, tag controller, which is consistent with pages controller, post controller, so forth like that. And then we did -- resource. So this kind of got folded over there, but it was -- resource, which just means to create the Crud controller. If you didn't do -- resource, it would just create an empty controller, which works too. But it just kind of adds in all the Crud stuff, and then we can just delete the stuff we don't need. Okay? So that's basically what we got there. Sorry for that. I forgot to turn on Do Not Disturb. Let's turn that on now. Okay. And, okay. So now we've got our tag controller, and it's got all of this basic stuff in here. Now, the first thing we need to do when we're creating our tag controller is we're actually going to make sure that only authenticated users have access to whatever is happening inside this tag controller. We don't want any guest users or non-registered users to have the ability to edit or manage our tags, okay? So just like we did with categories, once again, we're going to want to add middleware to our tag controller to make sure that only authenticated users have access to that. You should hopefully remember this, but you can just do this at the top of the class up here, and we're just going to create a public function, and this is the construct function, okay? So this is what construct, yeah, I had a brain fart there. This is the construct function, which runs every time the class is initiated. This is basically what handles whatever you put in the construct function will basically override or be, not necessarily override, but it's basically the beginning of all these other functions that we have below. So what we do here is we create our construct, and then that's where we can do the middleware. So we'll do middleware. This just declares the middleware that we're going to be using, and then we'll just say it's the auth middleware. So this is the middleware we've already created in the past. It just says that it only allows authenticated users access to this controller. So that's going to allow everything in here only to be used to authenticated users. Now what we need to do is we need to create our public index function. This is where kind of the basic page for tags, where people see all the tags and kind of have that basic form. If you remember the way we did the categories, which is basically the same way, we had a list on the left-hand side of all the existing tags or all the existing categories, and then we had a little form where you could just create a new tag right there. That makes the most sense because the tag is so simple. We don't need a long form. It's kind of nice to not have to reload the page to add a tag. So I kind of like just having it over to the side. So we'll be doing that again here. Okay, so what we can do here is we're going to first of all grab all of the tags from the database. Okay, so what we need to do is create a variable to store that in, and then we're going to go out to the database and we're going to grab our tag model and just say grab all of the tags, just like that. Now, because remember that this file is namespaced inside of the controllers, which is inside of this folder right here, the tag model is actually outside of this folder, so we need to tell it to use this tag model. So down here we can just go ahead and say use, and we'll just do app \tag, and that will tell it to use this tag model, so we have access to all the functions here inside the tag model. So tags equal tag all, pretty basic stuff there. Now what we can do is we can just return all of the we'll just return the view and then pass in all of the tags. Pretty basic. Return view, and we'll just do tags, which we haven't created this yet, but we'll do tags.index. All right, and then we'll pass in with tags and give it the tags variable. All right, so with tags, it's going to create a variable called tags and pass in this variable as the tags variable, basically. Same thing we've done a lot of times before. Hopefully you guys are doing this crud in your sleep. Okay, so when we do we actually don't need a create function, because the create function is generally that form. You would click like create and it would load a form or something to create your new post or your category, your new resource here in the Crud model. We're creating a form over on the side of our index, so we actually don't need this create function. So I'm going to go ahead and just delete that. However, we still need somewhere, because that form is going to be on the index page, we need to submit that form somewhere. And so that we do need a store function just to store it if someone submits that form inside of on the index page. Okay, so we're going to just come over here to store, and we're going to we just need to validate the request as we usually do. Validate, and this is where you can, let's see, you pass in the request, which is basically up here. So we're going to pass in this. And this just contains all of the data that was submitted in the request. Okay, so this request variable contains all of that data. And that's basically what you're saying, is you're saying what data do I want to validate? And so we just validate that whole request is what we want to do. And then the second parameter here is actually the rules, the validation rules that you want to validate against. Okay, so in this case, we're going to have a name. I believe that's what we called our, let's double check real quick. Let's go to tags. Basically what we need to validate here is we've had this field called name, and we just need to validate that it's less than 200, and it's 255 characters or less, so less than 256, and that it's that's basically it. We just need to say that it's less than 256. Everything else is pretty basic. So that's the only validation rule we need. So we'll come here and we'll just say array, and we'll say that we want name, and we'll set name equal to, let's say it's required, because we can't save something unless it has a name. So it needs to be required, which means it's a minimum of 1 character basically. And then we need to set a max character of 255. And let's see, that should be everything. Yep. So that's our validation rule. Then after here, what we can do is we can just do tags, tag equals new tag. All right, we can use tag because we've already pulled that up in here, so it knows about the model. So we're just going to create a new tag. This is going to create an empty instance of a tag. So and then we start adding stuff to that tag, which in this case is really only one thing, the name, and then everything else will automatically be generated upon save. The timestamps will automatically be generated, and the ID number will automatically be generated. So we don't really need to do anything else. So we'll just say tag equals new tag, and then we'll say tag name, and set that equal to the name available in the request. So we'll just do request name, and then we'll just save the tag. So we'll do tag save, just like that. Okay, so that's basically, this is a function, not a, or a method, not a, okay. So tag save, and that's basically everything. Now we just need to pass in that it was successful. So we'll add to our session variable. We'll do session, and we'll add to the flash message, success, and we'll say new tag was successfully created. Just like that. Okay. That's basically all. And now we can just return a redirect. and we'll just return back to the index page. Okay, so just to kind of recap what we did here in the store, everything should be you guys should already know this. That's why I'm going so much faster. It's because you guys should know this. But because we've done this a lot of times, I just want to kind of, I'm just kind of helping you guys get there, the final step. Hopefully you're able to do this, you know, in yourself. Okay, so basically what we're doing is we're validating the information because they're going to submit a form that has our name field. We just need to validate that the name field can be saved. It follows the parameters or requirements that we have. So we validate it right here. Now this validate function right here, if it fails, it will automatically just reject us back to the previous page request. So, so we don't really need to worry about handling that error. Everything we put below here automatically assumes that validation has succeeded. Okay. Then we create an empty instance of a tag model. Then we add the name to the tag model. We set it equal to whatever was in the form. Then we save that tag model. The timestamps will automatically be created at that time. So will the ID number. So that'll fill in the database row. And then we just we're just gonna flash a success message to our session. And we're gonna, this is the message that we wanna flash. So it comes up in a little success message. And then we're just gonna return to the tags.index route. And we can see those routes by just doing PHP artisan route list. I think that's it. Yep. And this is getting big. It's becoming a hassle. Okay, so let's see. Oh, we actually don't have this yet because we haven't set up our routes, which is good because let's go ahead and do that next. But normally we would have something like categories here. So you'd have your categories.index. We'll go to your just categories page, and it should be authenticated with web and auth. All right. So that's basically our store method. We don't really need a show. I'm just going to leave this blank because I don't really know what we would show. If we wanted, this is what we can do. Well, let's come back to show, because what we could do is we could click a tag and then have a list of all the posts that that tag shows up in. So that's a handy feature we could add. For edit is if we need to go ahead and edit the tag itself, we could go ahead and do that. That means we need to create a new form where we edit that. So that creates a new form. We'll come back to that. Update obviously associates with that. So this creates a very basic shell for our tag controller. So let's next go over to our routes file, which is just right here. Let's go over to our routes file, and we will once again just put, just like we did here, we're just going to create a new resource called tags, and it's going to associate with the tag controller, and we don't need the create function because we deleted that. All right, so let's go ahead and save that. And now if we rerun our file here, you can see we had categories just like before, and now we should have tags, as you can see down here. So we have a tags.index, and that's what we're going to be working with. Next thing we need to do is create the view. So let's head over to our view. We're going to head on over to resources, views, and then we're going to go to, this is where we need to create a new folder. So let's go ahead and create a new folder called tags. And then inside of that folder, we're going to create a new file called index.blade.php. All right, so this is our tags.index page. In fact, just for simplicity, let's go over to our categories.index page, and we're just going to copy this and then paste it into our tags. All right, and then let's just take a look at what we created. So we're obviously extending our main template. You guys remember this? This is the template that has all the navigation, all the basic boilerplate for our application. We're setting the title to all categories. So in this case, we'll set it to all tags. This is just the title that shows up at the top of the URL bar and stuff like that. And then we've got our content section, which ends down here, okay? And so this is the main part in the main content that we want to focus on. We create our row. You can see that we're making an 8-column. Out of our 12-column, we're creating an 8-column section on the left. We're going to call this, we have an H1 that says tags, and then we create a table right here. And in that table, it basically just has 2 columns and the actual ID number and then the name. All right. So that's in our heading, and then in our body, we're gonna do the same thing. So we're gonna loop through all of the category. In this case, we're gonna do tags, but we'll loop through all of the tags, and we'll call each time we loop through it, we'll call it tag, and then we'll just go ahead and output the ID for the tag. So tag ID, in the first column, and then tag name in the second column. Okay, very basic to categories. Let's go ahead and save that, and that'll loop through and show us that entire list of all of our tags. Now the next part over here is where we created the form. So we created a 3-column section on the right. We created a well, which is just that little gray box, and then we created a form. We opened the form, we closed the form, we said new tag, and then we're going to create a label for the name of the tag, and then we created a text field for the name field. That's basically it. We said create new tag, and then that's going to submit it to the new tag. So the only thing we really need to change is the route that it submits to, and that route is going to be under tags.store, okay, because we wrote that. If you go over to our tag controller, that's what we wrote right here, is to store a new tag, okay? So it goes to tags.store as a post request, and again, we can verify that by going over to PHP Artisan Routes and going to tags.store. You can see it's right here, and you can see that it's a post request, okay? If it was a put request or something like that, we would just change this here to put, just so that it matches what everything is expecting. So that's gonna basically finish up the tags. The last thing we're gonna need to do for our user interface is create in that drop down in the top right where we select kind of the admin functions. We just need to create something for tags and have it linked to our tags index page. So to do that, we need to go to this main template file. So let's head on up there. We're gonna go under, here's resources, and it's under our views folder, and then it's under main.blade.php. Actually, it's gonna be under this partials.nav. So let's go ahead up to partials and go to our navigation. And if we come on down here, you can see that this drop down right here is going to be this is our admin drop down. We have our posts, we have our categories, and now it's time to add our tags. So let's go ahead and we'll just copy this list item, I mean. And then we'll have it route to our tags.index. Just like that, perfect. So we are all set. I'm gonna go ahead and close these things, and let's head back over to our application, and I'm gonna head home. Oh, we need to reboot the server. Let's go ahead and do that. PHP artisan serve. All right, now let's try it again. Here we go. So now if we come over here to our admin menu, we now have something for tags, which is awesome. You can see we don't have any tags. Let's create a new tag. We'll call it marketing. Oh, we got an error. So, it's, okay, so this is good while we test these things, is we're not using the session, the session is not namespaced into our controller. So let's head on over to our tag controller and just namespace that in. So open up Sublime, and in our tag controller here, at the top, we need to be doing, we need to add sessions because we access the session right here, and so we just need to have access to that. It's outside the namespace. So what we'll do here is we just do use, and where's sessions? Let's just take a look at one of these other ones. It's just use session. Okay. Perfect. All right, let's go ahead and save that now, and then let's just go back here and try this again. Okay. So now we'll add a new one. We're going to call it PHP. Create a tag. There we go. Successfully created, and we now have our new tag. Let's create another one. Ruby on Rails. Long post, or gosh, if I could type. Quick tips. What else do we want to do? We'll just do one more. So we'll do Laravel. There we go. So we have a whole bunch of tags created. So our tag function is working really good. Let's head on over to SQL Pro, log back into the database, and just see how the database is working. If we go into our tags now, look at the content, you can see we have a whole bunch of our tags created, okay? So that's gonna sum up the tags CRUD. This is the basic CRUD. In the next video, we'll come back, I'll add the edit and update functions, and we'll edit, show, and update functions. We'll finish those in the next video. All right, so with that said, thanks so much for following along, guys. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks so much for being patient during my long absence. I promise that absence is a temporary thing and it will not continue. I really want to build this channel up. We're going to be building up that DevMarketer community. Okay, so I'm really taking this channel to the next level. A lot of you thought that I was quitting and giving up, and I'm not. Quite the opposite. I'm actually doubling down. We're going to build this community up. I want you guys to help contribute. I've got a lot of great we're going to be having a great social network and community features coming soon that you guys can help each other and talk about what's going on and stuff like that. So I'm really excited about all that kind of stuff. Please stay tuned. Thanks so much for your guys' support. I'll see you guys in the next video, and until then,